The REGIS team conducted a survey in September 2024 with almost 300 responses provided. Based on the feedback received, I'll be presenting 5 proposed system enhancements to improve the user experience related to the header department functionality for all users. User stories have been used when creating the proposed system enhancements. Here you can see a summary of each user story. As I move through the presentation, I will be going through each user story in more detail, describing the current functionalities and our suggested enhancements. The first user story is around providing better informed guidance to applicants for quality header department requests. Header departments want to see better detailed support requests for their department, including plain English summaries of projects and department expectations to allow easy review for decision making. Current functionality provides applicants with general guidance to step through Section C of the application form. Improvements would be made to this section through better informed support and guidance for applicants. We have created 2 examples with subtle differences to see if there's a preferred style and layout of this information. Example text would appear in Part C4, where applicants are asked to state the resources required from their department, as well as in the help text. This example text would provide applicants with information on how to format quality requests for header department support. Here is an example of how the current header department support email template would pull the applicant's more detailed and plain English request for support. The request for support will also pull through to the header department's decision in REGIS. The next 2 user stories describe the lack of being able to quickly escalate an application to other header departments or delegates when there are incorrect or missing header department details, or if the applicant completing the application is the header department, causing a conflict of interest. Currently, the applicant selects a department from a predetermined list, and if someone is allocated to that department, their name and email will auto-populate. If the coordinating principal investigator or principal investigator is also the header department, or no one is allocated to that department, an error message will appear in red. The application should be saved and the Reviewing Research Governance Office contacted for further guidance. To provide a quick action from within the application, additional questions would allow the applicant to indicate if the details are incorrect, missing, or delegation is needed. Here you can see a newly added question and toggle, which is auto set to no, asking if the header department requires delegating or updating. When the toggle is selected as yes, a new section appears. There will be on-screen guidance and instructions with 3 options to make a one-off change, permanent change, or to report a missing header department. If the user entered has a REGIS account, their details will auto-populate. If they do not have an existing REGIS account, the username and email need to be manually entered so their account is created in REGIS. Applicants would need to provide a comment for the change request, which the Reviewing Research Governance Office will receive directly if they need to verify the change, or it will be noted on the application for their review. Once completed, the applicant can continue through the form and submit the application. Once submitted, any header departments with the toggle as no will receive a system-generated email as per current functionality. Any header departments with the toggle as yes will follow one of 3 pathways. A temporary request will create a decision for each temporary header department, but not the initially listed one. The Reviewing Research Governance Office is not notified or required to verify this request. Once all header departments have completed their decision and the application is submitted, the application form will show that a temporary delegation has occurred and will include a justification. A permanent request does not create decisions for currently listed or old header departments. A new decision is created for the Reviewing Research Governance Office's action. The Research Office is notified of decision via a homepage tile, which requires actioning. This process would mimic current functionality. When yes is selected, the system automatically updates the details, like the current process to update the header department. A decision is created and the new header department will receive a system-generated email, advising them that the Reviewing Research Office has approved the change and they will receive the request for support email. When no is selected, the applicant receives a system-generated email that advises them that the Reviewing Research Office has not approved the change and to contact them to further discuss. Missing header department details can be updated when the error message indicating no department head can be found appears. A new section asks the applicant to report missing department head. The system will then follow the same workflow as mentioned when a permanent request is submitted. If the user details provided do not exist in REGIS, user account cannot be found appears. Once selected, the system will follow the same workflow as described for temporary or permanent change requests. The next two user stories are around being able to select or appoint a delegate when the current head of department is on leave, on secondment, or appointed to a new position. Currently, the Reviewing Research Governance Office can request multiple users be allocated against a unit or a department. However, there is no hierarchy, meaning either user can be selected. If going on leave, the head of department can contact the Reviewing Research Governance Office with the details of the user acting in their role, which can be updated in the system. An applicant can also identify that their application is stored and contact the Reviewing Research Governance Office. To provide a quick and easy delegation process, any user that is an active head of department in REGIS would be able to create a delegate for head of department approvals. Here you can see a new section and button that would allow delegate selection. All new or pending requests would be sent to that delegate for the time frame provided. There would also be an additional department drop-down to allow for head of departments to be allocated against multiple or all departments. This delegation functionality would be user-specific, meaning if the original head of department is no longer active, their delegate would also no longer be active in that role. Research governance officers would not be required to verify a head of department delegation. There would also be an escalation option that would work the same way as delegation. The last user story is around a more streamlined approach to providing support directly from the Request for Head of Department Support email. Currently, once an applicant lists all head of departments and submits the application, a system-generated email is sent to each head of department indicated in the application. This notifies them action is required. Heads of departments can provide their support two ways: by clicking the decision link via the email, which takes them directly into that decision in REGIS, or by logging into REGIS and navigating to the Decisions page and selecting the decision. To make providing support an even quicker process, the addition of 3 buttons embedded in the email would allow the head of department to provide their decision via a simple click. When supported is selected, the decision is updated in REGIS and no further action required. A system-generated email would be sent to the head of department advising them that their action has been completed. If supported with conditions or not supported are selected, the head of department would be taken directly into the Decisions page as per current functionality.